Hello and welcome to Cooking with Miss Rice, where today we are going to go overseas all the way to Japan to make a Japanese favorite called omelet rice. Now, to make omelet rice, we need some plain white rice, which we have right here, garlic, onion, chicken if you happen to have some, black pepper, soy sauce, ketchup, and sesame oil. If you want to add some other things, such as perhaps peas and carrots, maybe a different kind of meat, it's all good. Now the sesame oil is currently going into our wok. I'm afraid you don't get to see that because I'm not trying to move the camera only a little bit. I've already chopped up our onion, and the garlic, I like to use mince, is already set. So we're going to set these aside for just a moment while we wait for the wok to heat up. Now there's a couple things you can do during all this. I did forget to mention that we will be using some wonderful eggs as well. But while we're waiting, first we're going to make the ketchup. Now, this is a little weird, but one of the ways they love doing omelet rice in Japan is they take ketchup, anywhere from about 3 to 4 tablespoons, a little over a quarter of a cup, and about 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. We'll just pour that in there. Now, you know you have it about right. I like to pre-mix mine. There's a lot of places that they just put it in separate, and that's fine. But I seem to find that you get a smoother, more consistent texture if you just mix it ahead of time. And you don't really need to add much of anything else. The black pepper can go in later, or you can put it in now. I may go ahead and go crazy and just throw the black pepper in right now so I don't forget. So I'm putting in about half a teaspoon. How much you want to put in will be up to you, of course. Just go ahead and mix that up. And you'll notice it looks the color of barbecue sauce. That means you have it about right. You might want to add a little more ketchup. But I find because American ketchup is so sweet, if you look at your ketchup bottle, corn syrup will probably be the 3rd or 4th ingredient. You tend to get a very sweet sauce with this, even with the soy sauce. So I try to go a little easy on that. Now, over at the wok, we're about to get to where the action is. But it looks like it's not. No, it's not. Oh, it's already starting to smoke a little bit over there, so let's move this over. Get some action with the wok here. There we go. Okay, I'm about to throw in the onion and the garlic. Now, of course, always be careful when you're putting anything into a hot pan in case it splashes, especially when you have oil involved like I do here. Woo! Okay, something's going on in there now. Now you're just going to cook the onion and garlic until it gets a little brown at the edges. Keep in mind that once you put in the rice, the onion and garlic will still be in the pan. It will still be cooking. So you don't want it cooked to the point where you're going to have it all black and nasty. You just want it to where it's going to get nice and brown and fairly cooked. Not too much crunch. Unless you like crunchy onions, and I guess you could leave it till that point. Now while we're waiting on that, I'll let you all watch as that beautifulness occurs. I'm going to take these 3 beautiful eggs in here, crack them, and whisk them. And luckily, I have my empty bowls over here to go and put this in. There we go. That's 2 eggs. Not that you can see, I'm afraid. And 3. Now I promise I'm going to bring this over here in just a second so y'all can get a good look at it. So we have those 3 beautiful eggs, and we're going to just whisk them. And don't worry, I haven't forgotten about the onion and garlic. We will be cooking these up very nicely here in a moment. Turn down the heat to about medium-high. We don't want it cooking too fast or getting too hot over here. Now, ideally, sorry folks for the noise. Now, ideally, when you're whisking the eggs, and I do insist on whisking because you're going to want to get some bubbles. Traditional Japanese omelets, they tend to like them nice and fluffy. I'm afraid mine never come out quite as fluffy as they could. But generally, You want nice fluffy omelet on top, because what you do is we're going to make stir-fried rice with this. But we'll be adding in, instead of just soy sauce, we'll be adding in the ketchup as well. Once we do that, we'll go and stir-fry the rice a little bit longer till we get some nice little crunchy bits in there, little brown pieces of rice and such that we all love in our fried rice. And then we'll put it on a plate. Afterwards, we'll warm up a pan to go and cook the omelet and put it right on top. Now, the Japanese, their ketchup, I believe, is a little, I believe it's not as sweet as American. We Americans tend to add sugar to everything, I've noticed, in comparison to other countries. Because one of the things they do that I find is too sweet if you do it is they then decorate the top of the omelet rice with a picture out of ketchup. So they'll draw like a cat face, maybe a fish, maybe a message that says, I love you. You know, especially if you're making it for someone you care about, your child or your boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever it is. Alright, this is cooking up very nicely. It smells wonderful, by the way. I'm very sad there's no smell-o-vision for you guys because this is amazing over here. Alright. Now it looks like it is almost ready. So meanwhile, I'm going to, in another bowl, I have some rice right here. Now for what I'm making, I have about 1.5 cups of cooked rice. So basically, when you cook 2 cups of rice, take 2 cups of uncooked rice and you cook it, I take about 1/3 of the product and use it for this recipe. And I will admit, some of you may want to cut down the amount of garlic and onion. I used about 1/4 of a large onion and a couple tablespoons of garlic, because, come on guys, you're starting to learn about my love affair with garlic over here. There we go. Okay, so I've broken up the rice. This will allow it to cook a little bit nicer. And, ooh, yeah, I'm seeing a little bit of browning. I'm seeing some of the onion getting soft. I'm going to go ahead and throw this in. So we throw in all this lovely, lovely rice. And then right on top of that, we are going to add the sauce. There we go. Get all that in there. So you should have close to 1/4 cup of sauce. Now we're just going to mix it up. Now, I have not put away my ketchup at this point, because when I'm cooking, I may find I may need a little bit more ketchup, just to make sure everything's thoroughly coated. And I'm looking at this. You know, this morning, the batches I made for my students were looking good. I'm not sure. No, that looks good. So you get this really pretty kind of red color, reddish brown color to it. Let me go in autofocus here. I apologize for the autofocusing, guys. In case you don't know, I'm using something called a hover cam, and it loves to focus on its own. Drives me up the wall, but hey, it's a camera, it works, so I'm not going to complain too much. Okay, now meanwhile, directly behind this pan, I am going to start warming up my secondary pan, which will be used for making the actual omelet. And while we're waiting for that to warm up, tell you what, guys, I'll tell you a funny story. Once upon a time, there was an American ambassador. This is a story I was told when I was back in college. The ambassador went to China, I believe, where he was given a huge feast in his honor, and it was dish after dish after dish of food, and he was just starving at first, but then his stomach kept getting more and more full. It got to the point where he felt like he couldn't eat another bite, but had heard if he did not eat everything, that it would be considered dishonorable to the host. So he finally gets to the end of the feast, the dessert and everything, and then they bring out fried rice. The guy looks at it and he's like, oh my gosh, please don't tell me it has more food. And he's thinking this quietly, and he realized he has to eat it, so he goes and eats it. The host panics, immediately takes away the fried rice and puts it in the trash and begins going and starting another feast. Apparently, the stir-fry rice was not supposed to be eaten. Good lesson on knowing other cultural norms. I'm not 100% sure the story is true, but I'm hoping my professors wouldn't lie to me about such a neat story. All right, we're starting to get some slightly crispy bits in the stir fry, so I'm now going to remove this wok from the heat. And in a minute, I'll place it on the plate. Meanwhile, since this burner is nice and hot, I'm going to go ahead and move my pan down here so it can get warm. Turn off the back burner. Now, normally I do like to use either bacon grease or some butter on the pan. But in this case, because I am making an omelet, I prefer to, for omelet rice, I prefer to go ahead and use some sesame seed oil. We got some nice sesame seed oil going here. Get it warmed up. While that's going on, I am going to go ahead and put the rice onto a plate. I know you guys must feel like you're missing out on all the action today, but unfortunately, until I can get someone who can follow me around with the camera, we're just going to have to deal with sometimes the camera is going to be where you guys are not. Or where I am not, rather. There we go. Now, in case you're curious, this dish is meant to be a full meal. Like, after you eat this, you should be pretty darn full. You can see, and there's the fried rice so far, and we're about to throw an omelet onto it, a 3-egg omelet at that. Now I'm going to go ahead and finish whisking this up. You'll notice I'm using an actual whisk today. That's because I want to make sure to get lots of air in there, help make it fluffy. If we're lucky, maybe we'll actually get to see me make this nice and fluffy on camera. Well, but we're at a good start at least. We have some good foam. I'm going to go ahead and pour that in. There we go. Now, I'm going to tell you all right now, there is something most people make the mistake of when they are doing an omelet. That mistake is they flip it too soon and they don't make sure the edges stay loose. So I'm just kind of going to go around the edge of the pan just a little bit. Yes, this is a nonstick pan. The egg can still get a little sticky on there. It can get a little warm and want to stay put, and we don't want that. And you're really wanting to cook this until it is almost completely done on one side. We're just going to literally flip it over to finish up. So I'm lifting this up, and what I'm doing is I'm lifting this up to get some of the egg yolk or the scrambled egg mixture underneath. This will help cook it a little bit more. That's one of the tricks my mom taught me, and that I also learned from TV, so I figure between the two of them, it's got to be right. Okay. And there's not a lot of wet egg left. That's a good sign. Now, I like to make sure I have a good wide spatula. If you don't have a wide spatula, you want a long spatula for this. That's the other part that people make a mistake on. If you have a spatula that's small and tiny and easy to use, great, you'll be able to get in the pan easy. But the big issue, you will end up causing the whole thing to fold over when you try to flip it. Now notice, I'm going to say this, and now this thing is probably going to like just refuse to flip correctly. I'm going to kind of wiggle it. Oh, it's trying to tear over there. Get it loose. 1, 2, 3, flip. Oh, and we have that pretty brown on the other side, just what I wanted. I like to have my omelet a little brown on one side. You may want it to be not as brown, in which case put your heat to about 4 or 5. It'll take a little longer to cook, but it'll still be delicious. All right, so I am going to go ahead and right this moment, I'm going to move the camera to where we're going to have our plate so you guys can see the final product before I let my special guest, who will remain nameless and off screen, I'm afraid, because I do not have permission for them to be on camera. There's the fried rice. And here comes the delicious omelet. And we're just going to cover it completely. Come on, get there. And there you go. Omelet rice. Almost as pretty as they do in Japan, but I'm going to be honest, I'm not an expert on Japanese cuisine. I just love playing around with it. So everybody, I hope you give this a try. Feel free to try it with a little bit of ketchup on top. Maybe your tooth is a little sweeter than mine. But in the meantime, bon appetit!